Welcome. I'm Christoph, I'm the CEO of Sensolus, and today we have a new episode of Track and Talk, a US edition. So this is our channel where we actually track how IoT can help you to make all your assets visible, from giant containers to the small boxes, both outdoor and indoor. So for today, I welcome Steve, our General Manager USA for Sensolus. Welcome, Steve.
Yeah, thanks, Christoph.
Topic of today, trends. What are the main trends in our area of IoT asset tracking? So, Steve, we have a short talk. So, what do you see happening in our space in the US?
I think three trends I see, and it's always risky to talk about this stuff in unpredictable times, right? But we talk about the impact of technology as costs decline, as complexity declines, right? And what that opens up in terms of use cases. We talk about the impact of new regulations and how companies need to comply with those regulations, right? And of course, I know you're going to be shocked by this one. We talk about the integration of AI in our solutions.
Let's start with the technology, because you mentioned it already with some lines, but really enlighten me how you see the technology is still changing. And because it's a prediction, you say it's a trend, technology is a trend. So tell me about this.
Yeah, I think for one thing, costs are declining, which opens up the ability to track, let's say, lower value assets. 10 years ago, you would never deploy our solutions to track assets worth less than $1,000. We're starting to reach the point where the ROI makes sense even at that level. And so, and just generally speaking, complexity is, there's less and less complexity in the business, right? Which allows for easier to deploy solutions with less risk.
Okay, and is it only the costs that you see changing, or there's other parameters actually evolving with our technology?
You know, there are other trends too, battery life, for example, right? And so there have been improvements in battery life over the years, not only in our industry, but in the autonomous vehicle business. And so we're seeing that, and the relevance of that is that our customers can get more out of our solutions. There's a longer life to those solutions, right? And it's not just, you know, the 3-cell lithium batteries that we place in our tech, right? But it's also the firmware algos that are developed, right, to manage those batteries, and the use of low power connectivity too, right? And so we've just recently launched a tracker enabled by LTE-M tech, right? In addition to NB-IoT. And so all these factors are coming together to basically reduce costs.
But just because there's a new protocol, you mentioned LTE-M. But for the audience, what is the impact of having more protocols?
Redundancy. So we have trackers that can work on both LTE-M and NB-IoT, and so there's redundancy there. So ensuring better connectivity for one thing, but also reducing risk. You know, in the future there may be strategic changes to the NB-IoT network, as we saw with Sigfox years ago. So this redundancy provides those benefits.
And is that then going to a global solution today, or are we still restricted to the US only?
You speak to satellite connectivity, right? I mean, our solution today is primarily for land-based applications, tracking trailers, containers, reusable pallets over land, but we see two huge initiatives globally to blanket the Earth in a signal, right? SpaceX is one of them, run by Elon Musk, launching low Earth orbiting satellites to provide coverage globally. And then Amazon has a project called Project Kuiper to do the same. And so what we are exploring is enabling our tracking devices with satellite connectivity. So it's anytime, anywhere tracking.
So it's another space race out there, and we will be part of it indirectly.
Another space race. Yes.
So let me jump to the second trend, the prediction that you actually talk about. It's about regulatory. How is that changing today in the US?
Yeah. So I think Europe is probably ahead of the US in terms of regulations, in terms of GDPR, right? And so the main thing that we see in our industry, we capturing so much data, right, is you have to answer the questions, right? Where is my data? how long do I retain it? What do I do with it? Who owns it? That sort of stuff, right? And that is especially important when it comes to personal information, right? And so, Christoph, I would ask you, how is our company Sensolus protecting the privacy of our customer data?
Well, first of all, we comply with all the laws that are in place. And as you mentioned, in Europe, there has been some progress on that already. So the GDPR compliance. And then also what's important to understand is normally we track assets. We don't track people. And then, of course, in all honesty, you have to have the highest security standards today, because there are a lot of people interested in this type of data. And this is how we actually cope with it. We put it high on our R&D agenda to really look at those aspects and make sure we cover it the way it should be done. Because with all those things out there, there's a vulnerability. So you have to make sure you actually tackle it by design. Let me jump to the last one, and I know it's an obvious one. It's the AI. It means the buzzwords. It's everywhere, and I even think last year I would say buzzword. Today I don't think it's a buzz. It's real, and we see it as well. But let's try to be a bit more specific here, because AI, it's not everything. But tell me, how do you see how AI in our industry is actually changing the real thing?
So, I think you might agree it's even more than a buzzword. It is a disruptive force to industry across all verticals now, right? And to me, I have some gray hair here, Christoph, more gray hair than you. I've seen two other disruptions in my lifetime. One is the introduction of the internet. Yes, I was alive before the internet. And secondly, the introduction of the mobile phone and how that's changed industry. To me, this is the third wave of disruption. And so I think what I'm seeing is more and more companies figure out how to monetize AI and how to get value out of it, right? And so beyond the hype. And what we are doing here at Sensolus is we are using AI to basically help the user of our software, of our platform, get the most out of the mountain of data that we collect on location, movement, and condition of your asset, right? And so a user could go into the platform and ask questions like, where are the anomalies with my fleet of assets in the field, and what are the actions I should take to manage those anomalies, right? And so our generative AI is backed by the large language model Claude from Anthropic. And so we are helping users get the most out of the data. And then another simple example is if you're a new user, right? You get into the platform, you can ask questions like, how do I create a dashboard to track my assets? And so what AI is doing here is democratizing the ability to deploy IoT solutions so that anyone can do it.
Yeah, and
that's my view. What do you think?
I think you're completely right. I think AI is actually the bridge to make even non-technical users, give them all the power of the technology to make it actually very easy to get access to the insights, the data, and actually change your process in the end, because we enable them to do that. So from the AI perspective, I think there's a lot of things to discover, and I think it will be an exciting year, and we will learn a lot. So I'm actually looking forward. So I will do a little of a wrap up. So the three main trends we see is first driven by technology. Secondly, it's a lot about regulatory and compliance. And then thirdly, the wave of AI, which is also present in our segment. So I would really like to thank you, Steve. Thank you for sharing your insights.
We can see in 12 months if these hold true or, we reset, right?
That's true. Thanks for that, and also I want to thank the audience for your attention. There's a lot of this information also available through our channels, which is on Spotify, YouTube, or you go to our website where there's also a lot of information on use cases, white papers, webinars, and other sessions of Track and Talk. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Thank you.